إليه الشيطان قال يا آدم هل أدلك على شجرة الخلد وملك لا يبلى فأكلا منها فبدت لهما سوآتهما وطفقا يخسفان عليهما من ورق الجنة وعصى آدم ربه فغوى ثم اجتباه ربه فتاب عليه وهدى قال اهبطا منها جميعا بعضكم لبعض عدو فإما يأتينهم مني هدى فمن اتبع هداي فلا يضل ولا يشقى ومن أعرض عن ذكري فإن له معيشة ضنكا ونحشره يوم القيامة أعمى قال رب لم حشرتني أعمى وقد كنت بصيرا قال كذلك أتتك آياتنا فنسيتها وكذلك اليوم تنسى وكذلك نجزي من أسرف ولم يؤمن بآيات ربه ولعذاب الآخرة أشد وأبقى.
التكبير التكبير. The next on the agenda is the welcoming of guests, and without further ado, I welcome the guest speakers. Professor Dr. Ali Gabogume, who is representing Dr. Nasir Sanigozo. At-Takbir. At-Takbir. The next is Dr. Nigat Khan, who is taking the interactive session. At-Takbir. At-Takbir. We also have the representative from the provost, Dr. Abdurrahman Sadiq. At-Takbir. At-Takbir. Sitting among us is also the Dean Faculty of Basic Medical Science, Professor Sajdah. At-Takbir. At-Takbir. We also have the HOD of Biochemistry Department, Dr. Isha Karino. At-Takbir. At-Takbir. Why I apologize for the delay that was encountered, without further ado, we will invite the guest speaker, please. Give us the lecture, inshallah. At-Takbir, why Professor Dr. Ali Gombokume comes up to deliver the lecture. At-Takbir.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Let me recognize the presence of representative of the purpose. The doctor you have just introduced, who was my boss some years back at FCT. And I've been looking for him. I wanted to hear of him, and suddenly we met here by accident. I don't know that he's coming. I just saw him and he told me he is here to represent. So I'm happy to see him today, and I'm happy to meet your Dean College of Medicine, and also to meet all of you and offer you greetings and also tell you that I'm happy to be here as a representative, not as the substantive speaker. Unfortunately, the person that was supposed to be here to deliver a lecture is unavoidably absent. Dr. Nasir Sani Gozu, a friend, a former permanent secretary of various ministries in the cabinet, and former Amir of Islamic Medical Association, University of Lampodium, and very versatile actually in medical and religious knowledge. You're missing him today actually. I wish he had time to be here. All of us would have gained from his experience actually and knowledge. I got this emergency call just like 48 hours ago. And I was told by Dr. Nasser that, look, I'm here hooked up in Kano. I wanted to come back. I was even thinking this lecture is going to come on Monday. So, but I'm just reminded that it's going to be on Saturday. On Saturday, I have a flight that is coming to Abuja. Because of uncertainties, I wouldn't know whether I can make it to Abuja and make it to the lecture on time. So would you please be happy to represent me? I said, yes, I can represent you. Let them leave your name there, so that when I mess up, it wasn't me that messed up, it was you that messed up. It was your name that will be ringing, not my name. So I'm surprised to see my name in your agenda, whatever. It's supposed to be Dr. Nasir Sani Gozu, not me. He has taken the risk and asked me to represent him. So whatever I say, he has okayed it. So, but inshallah, I will try as much as possible to be as limited in terms of my limited knowledge in what I say, that I'm very sure, and to make this session a contributory session, which means it's not a structured lecture anyway. I didn't structure any speech to give. But there are certain things that I'm sure, and I know you also are sure, because Allah has said, فَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ ذِكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Remind. Certainly, reminders are beneficial, for mu'min. So with that, and I know here is a center of knowledge. This is cool. And you guys are constantly involved in the examinations. And that is why some of you, probably the organizers, feel that, okay, probably this is a challenge. How do I balance between my religious obligation and my duties as medical student? The training is very demanding. Yes, very intense. Too many activities. A lot of word rounds. A lot of tutorials. So it's just too much. So how do I balance? Okay, I'm not here to give you fatwa and say, okay, you know what? You can leave the prayers until at night and then you can combine all of them. If you're looking for such kind of fatwa, that one is above me. But one thing I want us to understand is that we are here alive today and we are somewhere because Allah has wished and will and wanted us to be here. We are His creatures. So what is our status? We are servants. And if I may ask, there is an examiner somewhere that all the students probably acknowledge is very fair and very magnanimous. That examiner tells you, you know what, this thing you do, medicine is very important. And because of that importance, there are 13 exams that we don't want you to fail. We don't want you to fail. We want all of you to pass. And because of the importance of you passing, we don't want you to bother yourself about the answers. We've made the answers available to you. The answers are there. And we've even sent into the examination room mentors and tutors to guide you so that you don't fail. Your work is just to copy. The answers have been written. What is expected of you is to copy, and all of you have been equipped with that capacity to copy. So since you have the capacity to copy, your job is just to copy and you pass the exam. Because it is so important, we don't want you to fail. So we don't want you to make a mistake. That's why we wrote the exam for you. We wrote the answers for you. And your duty is just to copy. All right? So how do you feel about that examiner? I don't know. How do you feel about such an examiner? Giving you answers, giving you someone to come and help you to answer the questions and to guide you so that you pass the exam. Very magnanimous, huh? Very magnanimous. So this is exactly what we're here in the world for. It's an exam. But you're one. The problem is not the exam itself. It's not what you write is the problem. No. The warning that is given to you when you are admitted into the examination hall is that that examination hall is very distracting. And the examiner did not mince word about that. The examiner keeps warning you. The examination hall is the problem. It's not writing the exam. It's not the answers. We've made the answers clear to you, and you know the answers. But the problem is the environment. So beware of that environment. That environment is very distracting. Let's say this is the environment here, this hall. And then you have all around you movies going on. Huh? So many things to distract your attention, to make sure either you mistake writing the answer, or you write a wrong answer, or you create your own answer right. Okay? You create your own answer right. That environment is capable of distracting you to do that. And that is why the examiner keeps on warning you. Beware, beware, beware. That exam is full of distracting items. And what is this examination hall is this world that we live in. What is the answer that we have? The answer is the Quran. Period. The answer to that exam is the Quran. And Allah did not leave us like that. He sent a prophet. After the prophet, he raised people that inherit what the prophets do, to do exactly what is required. To keep on guiding you, to keep on telling you, this is the answer, this is the answer, don't get distracted, write it as is. Don't change it. You're not required to change. This is the problem. But be looking at it, pay your attention, don't look there, look here. Right. And that examiner, very magnanimous. So, okay, you know what? We know in the course of writing, you guys are going to encounter a problem. Open up it. But all we want to know is your inner thing, which nobody knows. It's only we and you. We know what is in your heart here. So when you are sick, when you're not able to write the exam, when something comes that actually prevented you from writing the exam, we know. So write the exam as is permitted, as the condition warrants. Sometimes your answers are going to be short. Yes, we take them. The answers may not be full. Yes, we take them. You guys travel. When you travel, you shorten your prayers. But the answer, instead of 4 rakat, you do 2 rakat, and it's accepted. When you are sick, you cannot perform wudu, you pray. Sometimes you pray on your hospital bed. It's accepted. But what is not acceptable is you. The sense is here. You know what you're doing, and you can sense the environment, and the time comes and you allow the time to last to pass without praying. That's a problem. You do more. That's a problem. Because inna salata kanat ala al-mu'minina kitaban. All right. So this is where the problem comes. And I know probably as students, this is where your problem is. And probably, most likely, Zuhr and Asr prayer. Okay. So these prayers now come across your routine, your duties. How are you going to manage them? How are you going to make sure that the sujood you're talking about have its place when the time is due? How are we going to be sure that that is protected? And your also activities, which is life-saving, very nice, very good, and earns you reward. You still have it. So you have both. But remember, the exam is a must exam. You have no option. You have no option. You are a servant, and you have an obligation to Allah. And that obligation has been categorized in your activities or in our activities. There are obligatory activities, and there are voluntary activities. See how magnanimous this examiner is. Okay, so these questions are like this. We've given you those questions. Those questions are most. Some of them you write them only once. The answers are needed only once in your lifetime. If you like, after that we don't need your answer, but if you want to earn more marks, you can write it again. That one, but it's not. But another one is only done annually. And what is that? Ramadan. It's obligatory. It's only done annually. So that answer is written only annually. But if you want to write it as much as you can outside that stated period, you're welcome. And it's going to earn you more marks. But that one, when that month comes, you must write that answer. If you don't write that answer, there's a problem. But if you're sick, you cannot do, you have an issue, we understand. And we can take it. But we know the issue more than you. So if you're hiding, you can do, and you say you cannot do, you come and meet us. We know. That is what Allah is saying. Some of these exams, you don't need to write them. For students, I don't know how many of us here, maybe probably are rich enough as students to pay zakat. So those ones are conditional. You write these answers when the need arises. But the question is there. Then you look at the conditions. When it is due, then you write. If it is not due, if it doesn't apply to you, you leave it. The Hajj also. You can only perform Hajj when you have the means to do. If you don't have the means, Allah is not going to ask you, why did you live on earth without Hajj? But if you have the means and you have the time, then yes, you got an answer to write. If you don't write that answer, then there will be a problem. So if you look at all this, you will see there is one of the activities, and the other activity is only done once. If you're raised, because everyone is born a Muslim anyway, but if you're raised as a Muslim, nobody is requiring you to answer that question because it's been answered for you. But if you're not raised as Muslim, then all these activities that were mentioned, this example, you will not be admitted. We can only admit you if you come and do something, and that's the Shahada. If you do the Shahada, we admit you into the examination hall at the exam. If you don't do it, we leave you outside. Okay? When the time is over. And then because we invited you and you refused to come in. The invitation is given to you. Say this and come in, and then you say you're not going to say it. Okay, you're not going to say it. We have an issue with you later. We'll deal with you. Wait there. You that have accepted to come and have answered our invitation, sit down. This is exam. This is how you write it. So this is exactly what we mean. If you don't know, please know that your life and that exam begins from the time when you reach puberty. From that time, that clocks begin to count. But it has risks attached to it. And those risks are, some of these are mentioned to you. Some of the risks is that the time, you know the time when this exam begins, and everyone knows. But the time when the exam will end, you may not know. It can be called up any time. And each one of you have different starting time and different finishing time. And the finishing time of each one of you may never be the same. Some may get longer time, some may get shorter time, but it really doesn't matter. What matters is what you will be asked to do. The shorter time you get, the right answers you wrote, your obedience and compliance to write the answer, your avoidance of all this distraction will determine how far you go in the end. And the longer time you live, your ability to write the answers correctly, your avoidance of all this distraction will determine how far you go. So, in essence, it is actually you that determine where you go and how far you go in writing this exam. But it is good for you to know that this exam is not difficult. Because Allah has said it clearly. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. He has only asked you to do what you're capable of doing. And who is best to tell what you're capable of doing than your maker? Allah made you. Okay? You invented a computer. And you put all what you put in there inside. And you know the capacity of that computer better than anyone. You know what that computer can do. Nobody will tell you, you, the inventor, or the person that manufactured. You know. Okay? You want to do the one with low memory, you know. With high memory, you know. So Allah knows our capacities, all of us. Allah knows what we can do. But on average, these things He has put on us is what everyone can do. You're all scientists. And in science, what are the measures of central tendency? I don't know. I can't hear. Measures of central tendency. Statisticians, man. Huh? Very good. Mean, median, and mode. Okay. So that is what is being reflected here. This is the average that everyone can do. The mean. So majority, virtually everyone can do, except the outliers. And who are the outliers? The people that are weak, they are sick, they cannot do, sometimes because of age, old age, or young age, or something like that. And because of that, exception have been given. And that is why the exam actually doesn't start early in life. It just starts when you arrive for it. When you arrive for the exam, the clock starts ticking. And don't be distracted. You'll be accountable for it. Nobody is going to help you. Not your dad, not your mom, not your teachers. Allah will ask you. So how do I solve this problem? How do I navigate my activities as a medical student? The lectures, the tutorials, the theater works, and everything. And then what Allah has obligated me to do. And the one thing, and I repeat, the one thing that you will find interfacing or coming in between this is salah. The fasting, maybe even whatever I've recommended for you because of long activity in the day and the rest of them, when you are fasting, you feel comfortable, you have enough time to do. But for the prayer, it's very tricky because it keeps on coming. It keeps on coming. It keeps on 5 days, 5 times in a day. And the two that will keep on coming in between you and your activities are Zuhur and Asr. Asr most, because Zuhur you find time, break time. Your lecturers, your schedule and the rest of them will say, okay, around this time, you go and eat and the rest of them. So you can play Zuhur. But what about Asr? Asr sometimes crosses. And what is the danger there? The danger is you're sitting there, taking lecture, and the time of Asr is exiting and Maghrib is coming in, and you didn't pray Asr. This is serious. This is dangerous. So what do? You negotiate. Let your teachers know. Let your mentors know that you are Muslims. You have obligations. This is your life. There is no shame about it. Let me give you an example. I was working under Sadiq, the same person that is seated here. And I was given an opportunity for a master's program at the University of Maryland. When I arrived, I was given an office. And my boss looked at me and said, oh, you Muslims? Yes. Even before we left here at Asoko Hospital, there was a time he came, we went around, and he looked at a place around the corner and said, what is that building? I said, sir, it's a mosque. So it's a mosque. I said, yes. So when I arrived in Maryland, he called a white lady who is a Muslim that is working under him. He said, okay, show him where Muslims pray in the campus. She took me to the hospital. She showed me where Friday prayer has been prayed in some offices. It's a prayer place that has been set aside. Muslims come and pray, and Christians also come and pray. They only fill the time that they do. So the different prayers, Asr and Zuhr, are not Friday prayers. She took me to the place and showed me. So sometimes, actually, I cannot leave my office and go to the masjid where we pray in the hospital. So I remain there and find a place to pray. And this thing keeps on coming. Sometimes we'll have a meeting, sometimes it's not meeting, sometimes you'll be given assignment or whatever, and time will be taken. So what I did, I found a corner in my office and created a musalla for myself. Once it is time for prayer and I realize that I have deadline or whatever, I cannot go to the hospital and pray congregation, I stand up and pray. Sometimes my boss will ask the secretary to come and call me. And then she'll be shouting before she comes in, Aliyu, Aliyu, Aliyu. When she'll come in and I see so depressed, oh, he's praying. Then she goes back and tells me, Aliyu is praying. So when I finish, I'll come. That made a lot of difference. A lot of difference. Because there are some of my colleagues who are Muslims, but because they have this fear that when they identify as Muslim, something is going to happen. So they don't go for prayer, they sneak and go and pray. And they don't actually let anybody know that they pray in the office. So sometimes they feel comfortable to pray later on in the day when everyone has left the office. So these are the two, whatever you find, depending on the environment. You find an environment that is hostile. When you pray, it becomes an issue. And sometimes even with your boss. So how do you navigate that? And you find an environment that is welcoming. When you pray, nobody cares about your prayer. You go on do your prayer and the rest of it. But one thing that is important, please, as much as possible, wherever you find yourself, if you can keep your identity as Muslim, keep it. This is my advice. Let people know that you are Muslim and you pray this time, and even if they don't like it, let them respect it, because you have right. But if you find yourself in an extreme environment where your life is at risk, your whatever is at risk, so Allah understands that. When you hide your identity, and you find somewhere you hide, you pray, that's fine. Sometimes, even if your life is been threatened and people want to know whether you're Muslim or not Muslim, and you tell them out of fear that, no, I don't belong to them, that is nothing. Because Allah has seen what is in your heart. You are not denouncing Islam because you want to denounce Islam, but you're denouncing it momentarily because you protect your life. These guys are going to kill you, or these guys are going to harm you. So this one, I'm giving you an extreme example in an environment that actually anything can happen. But in this environment, it's different. Your teachers, Muslims, a significant number of them, your administrators are Muslim, you are in an environment where you have freedom to pray, freedom to express your religion and the rest of them. And so now, this is where the question is. So you have all this luxury and you don't have anything preventing you, and you decided to just send salat and you didn't do on time, well, then you have a question to answer. I hope you're following. So these are the situations that we find ourselves. Try as much as possible to create a balance between your obligation, which is Allah's exam, and this exam is on. It doesn't stop until you give this one. Whether you like it or not, it is there in you. It has to be done. What belongs to Allah has to be given to Allah. Nobody can take it away. So that one is not negotiable. The prayer that Allah has made obligatory has to happen. For the voluntary prayer, you have an option. If you feel you have earned a lot of marks, and this your obligatory are good enough, good enough. And definitely, if they are done good enough, are rightly, Allah will give it to you. You go to Jannah. But if you are like myself, that you have the fear that what you're doing is not really good enough, so now you resort to supplementary, because this examiner says, well, these are the questions, but if you like, you can answer more questions out of this, but this one is when we find problem with these ones, then we check from your answers, and then I'll put in here, so that we can pass you. Because this exam, we don't want you to pass. It is prohibited for you to pass. To fail, sorry. It is prohibited for you to fail. We don't want you to fail. And we want you to pass. So, because of the importance of you passing, we've given you other avenues. These are the questions you are expected to answer. As you answer them and you find time, answer additional questions there so that this can help you. So always do this, the act of ibadah, devotion, what Allah has made obligatory on you. Do it with faith, with love, with sincerity, that is a class, and with gratitude. I can tell you that no one is going to escape Allah. Not any president, not anybody. There is no power that can escape Allah. No. And there is no examiner that is as magnanimous as Allah. There is no Rabb that you can pray to and your prayer is answered. There is no Rabb that you can offend and you come back and raise your hand and that offense is wiped. How how can you fail? How can you run away from this? Huh? And it's important for you to know that if you're in medical school, that is even when you need Allah the most. Because they give you mortality exam, they put you in distress almost everywhere. And you don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. This exam they give you, the clinical exam is coming. And they have invited an external examiner. Nobody knows what is in the mind of the examiner. Nobody knows the kind of case you're going to pick. So is it not better, is it not the best time or the best part of your life to be closer to Allah? To me, I think that is. Because when I was passing through this kind of training, that was what I was doing. When I go to exam, when I'm preparing for exam, I pray. And when you have issues and you resort to prayer, you find a solution. Because Allah has promised, and Allah never breaks His promise. He says, when He says you should live for yourself, what did He say? وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ. Allah has given the answer. You are in distress, you need help, just resort to Salah. Aisha was reported saying when the Prophet feels uncomfortable and he feels he needs a solution for something, he just started and begin praying. And he will find his solution there. So you too can do the same. When you are in distress, so you're not supposed to run away from prayer. No, you're supposed to come closer to it. As for arrangement, the time that is going or is moving is between your class rep and your lecturers, and you and your lecturers, they will understand. Even if the lecture is very marathon, when you ask the lecturer, 10 minutes, sir, he will give you 10 minutes. Even if he's not a Muslim, he will say, okay, 10 minutes, go and rest. He can even give you 10 minutes to go and breathe. Go and take good breath so that this brain recharges. Huh? So if you beg and say, please, we have time for prayer and the time is going out, we don't want it to lapse, allow us 10 minutes, the lecturer will yield. And if you don't ask, and you have the capacity to ask, and you let it pass, wallah, Allah will ask you. So you must ask. It's if you ask, you are not given, then you sit down where you are and pray. Don't allow the time to pass. And somebody will say, what if I don't have ablution? Even if you don't have ablution, you're looking for permission, you're not permitted. And if you violate that rule, you're going to be punished. Sit down there and pray. As you're sitting, you pray. Allah sees you and Allah sees your heart. But to just sit down and idle and say, okay, because it's not likely he's going to answer me, so I won't answer. No. You must try, because that trial at that particular time is your exam. I don't know how much I have on this lecture, but I think I have taken much time, probably more time than I'm allocated to. The person who introduced me here did not give me time, so I think I should pull off the brakes here. And if there are questions or comments, please let them come up. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Before having the interactive session, inshallah, we will call on the representative of the provost to reveal the message of the provost to us. At Takbir while Dr. Abraham comes up.
Allahu Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm delighted to be assigned or asked to represent the provost of the College of Health Sciences of Nile here. First and foremost, I think I'm also delighted to mention to you, like the guest speaker have said, he's an old friend. Completely we lost contact well over 20 years? About 20 years ago. As I walk in here, I've been seeing him sometime in the television. For information, he's a very versatile individual, very intelligent colleague. He was the DG for NACA. I hope you know what is NACA. National Action Aid Committee on AIDS, Federal Ministry of Health. It's one of the agencies under the Federal Ministry of Health. And he has done wonderfully well, reducing the the HIV circulation in Nigeria. The prevalence have gone down almost to 1%. And we sincerely appreciate that, Prof. I think, again, the provost, like he said, gave me a very short notice, less than 6 hours in the night, and asked me to come in here. So what was crossing my mind is my boss. I didn't want to question him. However, I was like, am I the lecturer? Is there something expected of me? But I couldn't reach out for him. I received it with good intention, because once upon a time I was also part and parcel of this type of association more than 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago. And this topic is well chosen because the topic we had when I was active in this type of association was the purpose of man's creation. And you can see it's overlapping, because you pick one of the pillars, which is very crucial to you. Like he also mentioned in his lecture, I was in Liverpool some 10 or 15 years ago, and I had a similar scenario which he had in Maryland. But good enough, in fact, they even created a place for us. We were only 4 in Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, and they created a designated point for us, which is good. So on behalf of the Provost, I would like to sincerely appreciate the organizers of this occasion, and to sincerely also encourage you to sustain this momentum, because this is part of and parcel of you, and the religion itself is encouraging us to, to read courses like medicine or sciences generally, because if you look at some courses in the medicine, for example, the embryology, and you ask yourself, when you read the Quran, you could see it overlap, especially the creation of human being. It's spelled out clearly. I'm not here to give lecture, so it's very important we get ourselves into these courses and ensure that we are very close to Allah. And most importantly, it's also we are available for you. This environment is rife for not only acquiring the knowledge, the Western knowledge, but also to encourage you to practice your religion effectively. We have, for your information, we have 2 mosques, huge one, and Juma Mosque inclusive, with a lot of activities going on, side by side with that of our sisters. I was delighted when I came in the first place. The first time I came here was in 2020 to give a lecture. 2014, to give a lecture on Ebola in this same hall. So that time it wasn't well organized, that mosque was not, and we prayed somewhere. But when I came in later, so 10 years later, and I saw the mosque, I was excited. So thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'm happy to be here, and we sincerely appreciate, especially our dean, who has been very supportive, and our HOD. So we sincerely appreciate your support, sir. I've briefly met him as the dean. He's a very welcoming person. I remember on some occasion we had a meeting by the side of his office, and it was time for prayer. We just walked into his office and used his musalla and prayed. So that is very encouraging. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and wish you the best, and look forward to seeing more of these occasions coming up, especially as the Ramadan is almost coming in the corner. Thank you.
At-Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
At-Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
While the lecture was going on, a lecturer from the biochemistry department, Dr. Rachel Angelo, was able to greet his events. At-Takbir. At-Takbir. Having received the message of the provost by Dr. Abrahman Sadiq, the next thing on the agenda is the interactive session. Prior to this event, I think a week or two, a survey was generated, and this survey will be the basis of this interactive session, inshallah. And without further ado, I will invite Dr. Nigat Khan for the interactive session, inshallah. At-Takbir.
Allah.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, as was previously described, we are going to now do the interactive session. My name is Karima, and I'm going to be asking the questions. As he said, we currently sent a form out for people to ask their questions and for us to ask about what are the things that bother our students the most regarding balancing their dean and their medical school. So, as you said, here with us we have consultant, gynecologist, and obstetrician, and the director of Habib Medical Clinic, Dr. Khan. We welcome you. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, everyone. All protocols observed, and my dear children.
So the first question is going to be just generally balancing deen and medicine. Many students describe balancing medical school and their Islamic obligations as quite challenging. From your experience, how can a Muslim medical student realistically balance excellence in medicine without compromising their relationship with Allah?
Okay, thank you. So basically, our guest speaker has spoken some of those things, but I would like to give you from my practical experience. And from my practical experience as a student and also going through the residency program, plus now even as now in my working professional life. Basically, we need to understand we are going to balance these from very beginning, but it comes when you understand why do you need to practice. Is it important in our life? Excuse me, I'm having a bad cold, so yeah. So basically, I would advise every one of us here to understand, one, what actually are you here for? Your purpose in life. You understand, from there you understand that Islam is part and parcel of my being. And if Islam is my priority, how do I prioritize other things into whatever I'm doing? This is the first thing, number one. Number two, if you are going to be a medical, presently you're all medical students, you're all aspiring to be doctors in future, and with other things in life, and I'm sure specialization might be there, or some other things you would like to do in life, you're going to make the decision right now. How would you put everything in place? And a proper planning is the best way to start off. Now, as medical students, I'm sure you have rigorous schedules as in preclinicals or clinicals, but you do get time to do some other things in life. But doing those things are as equally as important, and as prayers are part of it as well, as our guest speaker has mentioned over and over. That is where the balance comes in. And that comes from understanding what are your priorities. So this is where I was speaking, okay? Now, I'm only putting this, my practical, how did I go through it? When I was in school, I graduated from ABU. ABU, I would say, was a very balanced place. We had both Muslims, the Christians, but it was more like more like a Muslim community. So there was, I would not say I would have the same thing like you guys may have been going here. We had school, we had a mosque, general mosque. We had a mosque even in the medical faculty. So it was not as if our lecturers didn't know there were timings for prayers. So we were giving some time, even during lectures, like when it is 4 to 5 or between, even we used to have late night lectures as well. And our lecturers, both Muslims and Christians, would say, all right, the Muslims can go. And that was how it was in ABU. However, it might be a little different here. One thing I would advise you is this: please, always respect the lecturers. It is not good, or it's not even, it's not right good. I would even want to say it's disrespect to the lecturer. It is time for prayers, and all the male will just get up and move. You should always take excuse. And what I advise, and practically it would be, you should have a representative. If you have a lecturer, probably having between 12 to maybe 3. I'm not saying that is how it happens, but probably you're having something like that. And you know, as Zohar prayer falls in between. Your representative should have a talk with your lecturer prior to moving out. Ma or sir, we'll be having this time to go out. Would you please allow us? And I'm sure nobody would refuse it. But it comes when you have given the due respect to the lecturer. Okay? Yeah, it can be in other aspects of life as well. Other things of your religious thing, that you need to always make sure you have given the due respect to the lecturer or even the institution. I'm sure to take this place, you took permission. So also anywhere, nobody should be like, this is my right. No. Give everybody the respect and you will get back respect.
Thank you so much. So I think some of the highlights from that were to know your priorities, to plan, and to be respectful towards everyone in your family. Thank you so much. So the next question is about overwhelming workload and a lack of free time. So a lot of people express that with overwhelming workloads and little free time, how can students restructure their mindset so that Islam doesn't feel like an extra burden alongside their life?
I don't think if you know your priorities right, I'm sure Islam is never a burden, it's rather the way of life, and it even helps you lighten you up. How many times you've gotten your exam results and you've not been very comfortable with that? It is when you have that, it's alive, it's written, or you have those motivations coming from the Quran, or people letting you know that's how you feel better. So Islam is never going to be a burden, rather it's going to be a support to you. Coming to lack of free time, it's lack of planning. During my medical school many years ago, I don't want to tell you how many years ago I graduated, you will calculate my age, but we had more tough, it was tougher for us. You guys have laptops, you have AI to help you with so many assignments, we have to read textbooks, we have to go to library. And yet, I have my kids in med school here, and I think they don't even have time. I had better time with them. I mean, I'm talking about during my medical school. So it's not, it is you to create the time, have the free time, but planning. You can't just leave everything to the end and say, oh, exams are coming in a week's time, then you start. No, it's a daily thing. You read a little, and that's it. And you should also plan to have a little time for yourself. Your leisure should be there. You should even have time for socializing. I'm not talking about other things, but at least your friends, you should know them better. But that's how it's going to be. So I think it's important, just the same way, planning, and having a schedule to follow. And stick to it. It becomes part and parcel of you. It's difficult in the beginning, but believe me, once you have a schedule, my exam's in 4 weeks. How am I going to go about anatomy, physiology, biochemistry? Go through that. It's just how you prepare yourself. Don't leave anything to the last minute. That's when you get confused and you get worried and you don't have time for yourself. That's what I think.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. So a lot of planning, and that is definitely, what everyone needs. But a lot of people express that their issue is being uncertain how to balance. Like they make plans, to start the semester and it's like, yes, I have a plan, I'm going to follow this plan. And then one weekend, the plan has fallen apart. Do you have any advice?
Don't give up. Don't give up. We all did the same thing. We all went, we will make plans to read 5 hours a day, and in the end, we will not even read one. But don't give up. Make a plan, stick to it. It may not be immediate, but with time, you get over it. So I'm sure majority of us that are having issues, you'll be over. Don't get demotivated. There are a lot of things that can pull you down, but always keep yourself going higher.
Thank you for that. So another thing is the decline in Quran and dhikr consistency. Many students are really upset about losing consistency with Quran and adhkar. What does consistency actually look like? What does it mean? And how can one maintain spiritual nourishment during intense academic sessions?
I believe as a Muslim, and I'm just telling you what I think. I was also informed by my, my senior mentors, that were me or my senior colleagues. I noticed, in fact, during medical school, we became very prayerful, all of us. I mean, I'm talking about myself. The others, whether the Muslims or the Christians, we all became very prayerful. We knew that we can't handle it alone. We need somebody, that superior being to help us through it. So one, that's religiousness comes part of us. So it's not as if we leave religion in being in medical school. Now, coming to the fact that you're having that guilt, I don't think you should. For me, you're supposed to just do what is regular and what you can do without putting unnecessary stress or burden on yourself. What comes natural is the best thing. Who says you have to read 50 verses or 20 verses if you can just spare 5 verses? But it should be consistent. Now, what is consistent? Something you can do without feeling it as a burden. That's what I feel is consistency. And that will be developed when you have something, put realistic terms in front of you. I know there are people that can recite the Quran throughout the night, and there are people that use 1 month. Why not I opt for something that my body can handle? Do you understand? I know that I can't do much more, and I have so much other things to do. So I would balance my zikr, my askar, my religious activities. Like what I was initially defined as obligatory stuff, I need to do that. That one I will never let go. However, the voluntary or the things that we can balance according to our strength is what we should learn to understand. I know you have this guilt at the end of it, oh, others are doing, but what you need to understand is Allah is watching your intentions. He knows what is in your heart. So do what is right and do what is required. Very important. And coming to your askar and other activities, balance it with yourself. That's what I would advise. Like, sorry, just a minute. Like the morning and the evening, you don't have to read all the tests. I mean, there are booklets, I know, but there are things you could just, even while you're sitting in the lecture hall, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar is such a lovely and a blessed askar, which can be done even while sitting. I know there are lots of other prayers can be done, but these are something you don't need, you know? Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. So is that similar advice that you would also give pertaining to Ramadan, knowing that it's coming up, especially like how would you navigate that? Because I know a lot of people feel like it's the worst of both worlds. You're not doing the ibadah as you feel you should. You're also not doing school as you should. It feels like you're leaving with zero. So what would you say about that?
I want to also emphasize that you're here, you're walking to the hospital, clinic, or sorry, to your classes, getting ready for this. Take it also a part of your ibadah. You are not, what is the aim of coming to medical school? I hope you have understood why you are here. You're not here because you want to be a doctor at the end of it, medical student or DR and then earn a lot of money. No. The intention, please change your intention. Your intention here is to learn the knowledge which you are going to use to help the ummah, help the world, help the people. In that also becomes all striving for this will become part of ibadah. And take it that. My lecturer, one of our I can't forget, his name was Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him. He told me when I entered medical school, he said, not only me, in fact a group of Muslim students, he says, you have entered a field in which each thing you do here, but your intention should be you're doing it for Allah's sake. Even your sleeplessness at the night, you're going to extremes of anything you're doing, it's part of ibadah. So all what I do, I consider as ibadah with clean intentions. Allah will accept it. With all other acts I can barely do, especially the zikr and the rest, but because I have taken my time to make everything go into the intention of, then it becomes ibadah. So I would say all medical students, whenever you wake up in the morning, before you go to bathroom to have your bath, this, I'm doing all this is for Allah's sake. Any step I take towards my class, it is for Allah's sake, and Allah will bless you with that. So you have to change your intention while you're in medical school. Just change it. You're here to do it for Allah's sake. And that is when every act you do here, and that's why there was I don't want to say hadith, but I know it's an Arabic saying that says, you seek knowledge till you will reach China, right? Something like that. Do you have an idea? It's something? Yeah. So it's seeking knowledge for Allah's sake, which is a blessing. So, and another thing is only the knowledge, also you're going to do what is best in your hands at a later stage for Allah's sake again. He's helping his ummah. So it's a blessed profession and a blessed activity, and all the stress you're going, it will turn into ibadah.
Thank you. That's such beautiful advice, and I think that applies to many aspects of life, because I know we have some students here that are also not medical students, and I know that as long as any profession, anything you're going into, that you do it sincerely for the sake of Allah, then it's always rewarded. Thank you so much for that. So now we have a female-focused and personal concern section, because we definitely have a lot of females, and there are some things that we think pertain a bit more specifically towards us. So in this section, the first thing we have, and honestly I feel like this is something that comes up, yes, for medical students, but even the non-medical students as well, hijab and professionalism in clinical settings. So many females struggle with hijab and dressing professionally during clinical rotations and ward runs, and just generally, how can Muslim women navigate this confidently without feeling pressured to compromise?
Hijab is the khimar or the jalabia, it's part of our dressing. You should be proud of it. If you're proud of it, you can navigate it very well. And when you wear it under duress, or you're wearing it to please other people other than Allah, it becomes a burden on you, and you will always have problems with it. So that's one. Number two, medical profession. We are, yes, medically, our profession, ethics, and were written by people that were not Muslims. So I'm even happy you're doing it in Nigeria, in Abuja and ABU where I worked. They was not so strict. I went for some, we used to have some courses in UCH, And the ethics there, the dressing code there was so off Islamic way. You can't wear trousers out of the way, which during my time it was only skirts, and skirts it has to be just below the knee. You have to wear a lab coat that is obviously white, but you can't wear anything on top. I felt, it's because those things were written by, or the dress code was written by a non-Muslim, but Alhamdulillah for us here, we have no issues with that. Dress smartly, dress confidently, with the fear that you're doing this all for Allah's sake. That's one. Number two, coming to most times, we don't have any problem anywhere if you are dressed modestly. Everybody respects you. I was lucky enough to be sent to a hospital in New York, with MSS, which is Memorial Sloan Cancer Institute. I was the only one that used to wear a hijab there. I was the only one that was a Muslim as well. And believe me, it was wonderful. Whoever saw me will compliment me for my hijab. Many of them didn't even know why I cover it. So basically, we should not be afraid. We are ambassadors of Islam. We are ambassadors of our profession as well. So you should be confident. That is it. And also I would advise, let's just be conscious of what we are wearing. I see some people wearing a very long one, going to the lab. It could be a source of accident. Don't you think so? If it would be, avoid it. I don't want anybody to tell us, oh, you Muslim people, why do it? No. You know that it could be a cause of trouble for others, avoid it. Islam doesn't make us to, we should not be a problem to anybody around us. Even when we go for prayers, they even say it when you are doing your ablution, make sure you clean the area after you have finished, so that the other person coming to perform ablution should not be, should not feel bad that, oh, see, whole place is wet. So also our hijab, our himar, it should not be a bother to somebody. We are sitting in a classroom with a very big one and people behind us cannot see. We should be careful of such things. So once we are conscious about such things, and I'm sure you're properly covered, I don't think there's any problem.
Thank you so much for that. We will try to do better. So how can Muslim female medical students maintain now modesty while fulfilling professional responsibilities in close contact clinical environments? So this is now the modesty beyond just wearing a hijab, but in interactions. What would you advise?
Interactions within limits is part of it. You're not going to walk in a secluded female-only area. You're going to have male interactions as well, but to a limit that Islam allows. And sometimes, just like patients, I know no female patient would want to be seen by a male doctor, but there is provision. If there's no one else, you still have to see the male doctor. So also when we are having our professional lives, we have to interact to the professional limits, not going beyond that. You know that you need to lower your gaze, you need to make sure there are no outside, any interaction that will have double meanings, avoid it. So as shaitan will be the next companion. So that is what I would advise, because it's very common, and sometimes some of our male colleagues may misinterpret our actions. Avoid all that. You should be straight, you should be, to the point, and avoid anything that gives a different signaling. I hope we understand what I mean, right?
Thank you. So now after that, the next one, a lot of people actually have expressed this concern before, but it's actually about marriage versus medical career balance. So many people have expressed concerns with, first of all, finding a husband. They say apparently they run away from doctors. That's one. And then many people also worry about, okay, you found the husband, now you're married. How do you balance marriage and your medical career?
Yeah, that's it. I think it's very important you guys have asked this question early enough, because I will tell you from practical experience way, I've had many colleagues that could not succeed in the medical profession. Not MBBS level, I'm talking about post-MBBS residency program and the rest, because of the problem was marital issues arose because many people do not understand why should a lady leave her home, why should a lady not be the one in cooking 3 times a meal, 3 times a day. So I would advise you on something, and it's very, very important, prayers. Please start praying for a very supportive spouse. No jokes about it. It's very, very important because prayers can change everything. I will give you my practical one. I'm telling you, when I was young like you, my mom used to pray, "May Allah give you a nice husband." And I used to look at her and I was, "Mama, don't do this. Tell me, give me some other prayers. Let me pass my physiology. Let me pass my anatomy." She would say, "You will understand it later." And believe me, it's much later I understood a spouse makes you, stabilize you in your profession, but a supportive spouse. So please, prayers. Number 2, please understand when you have crossed not a particular, I'm talking about, this is like my kids, and I'm giving this advice to every child. When it is your time to get married, prioritize marriage over anything else. Everything else can stand still, but marriage time is marriage time. Please go for that. Career will come. Don't worry about it. Next, after then, when it comes to balance of family, it is how you have put in place. And most important thing is your support system. You're too young to understand this for now, but those of you that are almost approaching end of medical school or maybe soon to get married, please put in place a support system. You are not a superhuman being. You need support in form of people to help you out, and that also requires planning. So this is my practical advice. My mom told me 2 things. Number 1, make sure you don't allow career to come in between your family life. And number 2, don't allow your family life to come in between your career. Manage it. Understand how to do about it. And this is what I will tell you. 2 things cannot, many times they say, you can't have 2 things together going, but you can also have it going if you plan it. I tell you that one. So plan, pray, and then always seek help. There are many people that have gone through it. Take their advice. I want to tell everyone there's no shame in asking, how did you manage? How did you? Once you reach that side, ask the next the important questions. When you're going to go to a residency program, you just don't enter residence. You have to ask those that have gone through it, how did you manage? How did you pass the exam? What did you do? So when you're coming to marriage in your medical school or after medical school, ask those that have been married before you, how did you do it? What did you do? What did you do before this thing happened like this? So this is how it is. So always seek help. Even in your school, when you are exam writing, you don't just go to exam hall without knowing past questions, don't you? Right? No answers? I'm not telling anyone if you have past questions, don't worry. Right, yes please.
Okay, thank you. Inshallah, we will try to always seek help and form support system. Thank you so much for that advice. So also there's the concern of gender roles and leadership. A few students raised concerns about gender expectations and prejudice against the Muslim females in medicine and society. How do you think Islam should guide Muslim women pursuing leadership in healthcare?
I don't see there's a prejudice. I don't see it, at least. Yes, we do have sometimes issues at workplace. Oh, she's a lady, she'll go for maternity, she'll do this. But trust me, if you provide the value to that work, nobody can push you aside. Nobody. In fact, they need you. So I don't feel there's prejudice. Yes, sometimes we want to show ourselves to be weaker forms. That is the only place I would say. I'm not saying I'm comparing myself to a male, not at all. What I'm trying to say is that we should work. And if the demand is there, we should keep to it. I mean, to the level, there should be no excuse. That's why I said, don't put in 2 things together. Because I'm married, I cannot come and do this because I have to go and attend to my family. No, that's not what I did. I said, when I'm at workplace, I'm at work. When I'm at home, I'm at home. So these are the two distinctions you have to make. Now, coming to the other, sorry, there was something mentioned?
Should they pursue, like, should guide Muslim women pursue leadership?
Oh, leadership, yes. If you have the capability to do it, do it. I mean, it's not a race. It's not something that he went for it, I have to go for it, or that female went for it. Allah puts you in that position, do best to it. Trust me, don't be in a cat race with anything in life. Just do what you think is best for you, and you are consciously, you know your conscience is cleared about whatever you're doing. There's nothing like, I have to be there by all means. No. I have seen many people in that race, they never achieve it, it's misery for them all the way up, and when they reach there, it's never pleasant. But when you are put there, by Allah's grace, you will enjoy, but do justice to whatever position you are given.
Inshallah, jazakallah khair. So we've touched on this a bit, but being a Muslim in a diverse mixed environment, so how can Muslim students maintain strong Islamic ethics while respectfully engaging with peers of different beliefs? Do you have some practical tips on what you think this should look like?
I think if you just work within the tenets of Islam, you're good. I mean, you're not in an only female university. Basically, even in your classes, you're going to have both male and female. Know the line. You should know the boundaries with which you should respect yourself. And it is like that. I have been told many times that if you respect yourself, others will respect you. And if you have a line, you don't need to tell, I don't touch, I don't shake hands. You have never done it. Nobody has seen you do that. Nobody will extend their hands to you. But if they have seen you do with 2, 3, you can't tell another person, oh, I don't shake because I'm a Muslim. No, that's not allowed. Know what you want to be and what are your boundaries. Stick to it. Everybody respects you. The examples were given. I mean, even in Maryland, they have created a place for someone to pray. It's how you put yourself and portray yourself and be honest about it. I've seen some people, they'll cover their hair, they'll cover themselves, and then, and it's party time, which comes maybe once in a blue moon, no doubt, they will have a tight-fitting gown. I mean, it just goes off. So please, be honest, be realistic. What you think you are going to do is going to be what Islam has asked, stick to it. Interactions with other beliefs, interactions with different sexes, just know your boundaries, and that is why you need to know Islam to the level, I mean, that makes you practice in such an environment. You must know that, and that is a knowledge that you can't be pardoned. I mean, no, ignorance is not tolerated. So you should know your limits, you should know your boundaries.
Thank you so much. So the fundamental of it all is having knowledge so that you can know how you should set those boundaries and limits. Inshallah. So we're nearing the end. We have a few more questions. The next one is advice you wish you had known earlier. Looking back, what is one Islamic or practical principle you wish you had understood earlier in your life journey?
Well, advice I wish I had known earlier is, well, I think along the line I've been very blessed to have mentors. I've had people that always look down at me to pull me up. So I think I have been blessed with that. And probably I was always ready to learn from others. I never had that thing around me that I know it all, never. Number 2, an advice that my mom told me, always observe others and keep shut. So that way people tended to give me advice even before I asked for it. So I'm saying this, I mean, reflecting back, I don't have any regret. Probably if I was told more on how to go about land ecology, maybe, but I don't think I had any problem there as well. Yeah.
Sorry, thank you so much for that advice. So we've touched on this a bit, but if you have more practical advice for how to, like prioritization without neglect. So how can students prioritize responsibilities without feeling they're neglecting either deen or dunya? And what does it actually look like? Because sometimes, how do you navigate which one is actually a priority right now?
Priorities do differ. And with every stage of life, your priorities will change. Your medical students, right now your priority is to pass your exams. When you pass your exams and you're now a graduate, then your priorities will change. You want to do your house job, and after the house job, your priorities will change. So it depends on the stage at which you are in. And for me, my priorities will be set according to what I am in, you know. And second thing is that before you set your priorities, please seek help. Ask your people that have gone through it, because that's the way you'll understand to set your priorities. That's my practical advice for you all here. You guys are just new into even the medical school. Many of us, when we were younger, we didn't know how to go through medical school very well. But it is the guidance from others that made us wiser. So this is what I would advise you all. And don't feel guilty, I don't know what to do. Don't worry, we all went through it. Ask someone else. Just don't blame yourself for everything that comes your way. Oh, what happened? I don't know. Ask. And have good friendship. You don't need to have groups of 5, 10, 15 friends. No. 1, 2, good enough. Maintain that for life. I have my friends with me who I started medical school with, and yet we may not be on phone every day, but I know if I need something, that's just a phone call away. It's because of the friendship we built from med school. And that's what I'll advise you all. Be with your friends who you think you tally along with religious as well as your academic goals. So when you have that kind of common relationship between 1 or 2 friends, continue, and they can also be good guides for you. Some of them might be of the same age with you, no doubt. Some may have eldest ones to help you. So that's what I advise each one of you, the males, the females, have good companions to guide you. And your companions also are a reflection of you. You know, there's a saying that if you want to know me, know my friend first. Because you know exactly whoever I am, my friend will be the same as well. So please, always have good friends to help you, guide you, keep you guided and rooted in Islam. Because some friends can actually be the cause of the problems that we see, that many of us fall out of Islamic values. So keep good friends.
Jazakallah khair. That reminds me of the hadith of the Prophet where he mentioned the same thing, that that you're on the version of your friends, so that you should look to who you have as friends. So may Allah make us all good friends, and may we all have good friends. Thank you so much. On to academic burnout and spiritual exhaustion. So students repeatedly mention burnout academically and spiritually. How can we recognize burnout early, and how should Islam shape our response to it?
Burnout comes out when you have your expectations higher than your realistic terms. Present times, you should not, I understand there is burnout in some medical students because of excessive expectations they have placed on themselves. Please, just one thing I would advise each one of us is, at the end of everything, it is what Allah has destined will happen. Don't put unrealistic expectations. Don't put yourself through this risk. That is when issues come. Alhamdulillah, your life presently with the advent of technology called computers and laptops and AI and the rest, your life is so much easier. I know it has coupled with other problems, no doubt. Social media has become a very big distraction. But the fact is that medically, you are at an upper end than us. But yet, you guys seem to be in the same trouble like with us, because we were burning out because we had so much to read, so much to go and gather knowledge from so many different places. So I would say to burnout, to affect the burnout, to reduce the burnout in us is to reduce our unrealistic expectations. Okay? Yes, all of us are going to have finally first class. Very few will go into the high. I know that. But why do you have to always run after somebody that was higher than me by 1 mark? Let's go. What is ordained is ordained. What is mine is mine. Okay? That's one. Number two, there was a part of the burnout you mentioned.
Spiritual exhaustion.
Spiritual exhaustion. It only comes when you do it in excess. When you're doing within your limits, when you're doing within your stamina, you will never be exhausted. It will be part of you. You will enjoy doing it. It's just like people that love going to gym. If you look at the gym tracks they do there, you watching will become exhausted, but they enjoy it because they love it. So if you are into the type that loves to do nafla or zikr, enjoy it. Don't take it as a burden. You will never get exhausted about it. And when you're not able to do so, don't put yourself blame game. Just, if you were a reason, maybe you know the reason, make sure you don't repeat the reason again. Sometimes it's not your control, and that Allah knows best. And that's why leave it to Allah to judge for you. Whether you did it, if you did it less or more, it's Allah to help you with it. But if you did not do it because of some reasons like just didn't want to do it, that is the thing you should be worried about.
Thank you so much for that. And on something that you mentioned about what's ordained for you, being ordained for you, could you highlight more on that? I know that there's a lot of times even with many things in life, not just medical school, not just exams, but especially in this case where you feel like you studied, you prayed, you got up in the night, that's a hajj that you didn't do before you did. You know, you studied and you still didn't get the outcome you wanted, you still didn't pass. How do you move forward from that?
I want to advise every one of us here, Allah tests us. And Allah tests us because He wants to elevate our ranks. Sometimes you have done so much, and yet you did not achieve the success. You prayed. Remember, as a Muslim, Allah has said He's going to grant the prayer immediately. He's going to grant the prayer in another form, or on the day of judgment, the reward of that prayer will be given to you. And many people will say, oh Allah, why did you even answer our prayers in this dunya? You should have given this reward that we are getting. So, this is the good thing about being a Muslim. You have so much that you can allay your fears away with, because Allah brings, if you remember these things coming up. Now, coming to failures. You are humans. It's a test also. If Allah can test the most beloved of His creation, then who am I? And that should be the one to keep you calm. The Prophet has been tested many times. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam I'm talking about. So, if he can be tested, then I'm insignificant and I'm sure to be tested as well. So take it as a test and not a failure of your prayers or a failure of your hard work. You will get it back in another form, and be positive. That is where you should develop tawakkul and taqwa. That's when I said medical students generally they become religious, because we go through so much, and that meant our beliefs become stronger. But the belief is not just to say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. You are to believe in exactly in what you are saying. That Allah is my Rabb. He's there for me. So if anything comes my way that is not favorable, be positive about it and say, I know, alhamdulillah, Allah is going to bring it in a better form. And that is the motivation I can give all of you. It's not as if I had a smooth start from the beginning to the end. I've seen failures come my way. And I cried so much that I felt that, oh, Allah has maybe something I have not done good enough. I started doubting myself. But then, as it is, people's guidance, people's motivation pulled me up. And that is when the speaker has said, take the Quran. And it's very important. These are some things you should keep reminding yourselves with. Allah is going to test us in any way. So please be positive always, and always think positive about anything that happens negative as well. Don't always take negative and take it in the extreme end of it. all of us here, whether elders or we are just beginners of this profession, we have seen, we have tested failure, but you rise up from it every time because you know Allah is going to give you the energy, Allah is going to give you better reward for whatever. Even when you fail and you say Alhamdulillah, you are blessed, you are rewarded. So be positive about it. And there is nothing like, oh, why am I the only one? Others, they don't read it. Don't worry, don't worry. Please, medical school is a very tiring place, both mentally, physically, and emotionally. But the winners are those that were able to take over their emotional, the physical, and the mental stress, put it down, and ask Allah to guide you, to put you through it. Okay? Many of us may not, you have not seen me through medical school, so I won't be able to tell you, but trust me, after every word round in medicine, I've told my daughters I used to come out crying because I used to be so tormented about that whole procedure. But that is it. Now, when I think back, it was a teaching ground for me. In fact, there were many things that I was pulled out just to say, I was made to look like a fool, truly speaking. But it cemented my knowledge in it. So it was a way of even making me better. But at that point, I thought it was a torture. So please, if any of us are going through anything that makes you feel really bad, it is a point for you to know that maybe it is going to make you stronger. Okay?
Jazakallah khairan for that. I feel like that's beautiful advice, not just for medical school, but the dunya entirely, that it can be emotionally, spiritually, and physically exhausting. And truly, as you said, in the end, it's about those who are able to manage all of those affairs and succeed in the end. So now we have a question that is regarding the males. So they said regarding the males, how can they go about being in the midst of the opposite sex, particularly during lectures or practicals, taking note of those that dress indecently, and regarding their relationship as we need support from each other?
Yeah, it's two-way. Both females face something like that and the males also face something like that. I will just tell you a little from what I've gotten from my husband, who is more religious than me. I remember he saying when he's not a medical doctor. He's a more in engineering and the rest. So when there were obviously free mixing of males and females in the classes, his father had told him one thing, just to keep yourself away from two things that happen that makes you, your intentions may go wrong. One, look down. Number two, keep a beard. How feasible it is for you, I don't know, but these are the two things that my husband told, his father told my husband, and I'm just passing this, being a female, I don't know, but it is up to you people. Two things. And another thing that he has said over time is shaitan comes in different forms, in different ways. Fasting is one point at which a shaitan will not come close to the fasting person, especially because you are trying to guard yourself. So, I'm a female, I can only give you some advice that I've heard from others. It's no practical knowledge from me. So this is it.
Jazakallah khairan. I'm sure that was appreciated by them as well. So now we have the final message that you would give to our struggling students. For students who feel spiritually distant, exhausted, and just overwhelmed, what message of hope would you leave them today?
This is advice I give every child. Please respect your parents. Respect your parents, and you will have dunya at your feet, and akhirah is always for you. With this note, I'll just give you a little a message. I read it and I heard it. I'm sure many of us know Muhammad Salah, one of the online YouTube scholars. He gave this, and it's always with me whenever I'm talking to anyone. He said it was in Haram on 27th of Ramadan, in the night of Ramadan, 27th, and there were 2.5 million worshippers in Haram that day, obviously because of the night, and there was only one death. And the Imam, after the Taraweeh, said, we have a special prayer to do, janazah. And this guy was like, who is this special person that 2.5 million of worshippers will pray for, and only one person to die on this night? Out of curiosity, he asked, whose janazah is this? They said it's Haji Ali. Haji Ali was not even a Saudi national, he was an Egyptian. He had come to perform Umrah and he died while fasting and while performing Tawaf. This even motivated him to find out who is this special person and what act was he doing that he got this special reward. Tawaf, fasting, Ramadan, 27th night, only one person to have the janazah prayed for. And they even noted that even those that, because during, when there's a Taraweeh, people, the pilgrims are still going around doing tawaf. Everybody doing the tawaf stopped to perform the janazah prayer. So out of curiosity, he found himself one time in Egypt, and he asked, he had friends, and they said he's Haji Ali in Alexandria. He went there. When he got there, he asked, Haji Ali passed away with such a beautiful death. What was his single act that if his family members can remember? And they said, he never spoke to his mom with eye, direct contact with his eye. I'm sorry, still getting emotional. He used to look down to talk to his mom. He never said oof, in reality, oof to his mother. His mother was 93 years old. So this man now asked the mother, is there anything you remember of him? He said, whenever he did to me, I used to pray for him only one prayer, may your ending be the best. So, my dear children, my prayer is all of us should have a lovely end. But it comes from the prayer of the person that brought you to this. Allah is the one that gave you your mother. If they are alive, your parents, take care of them. Let them do the prayers for you that will take you in this world smoothly, and the akhirah is for you. A little deviation, I'm sure you know about Uwais al-Qarni, right? All of us know about that story. The Prophet said to Hazrat Umar, radiallahu anhu, and that if you meet Uwais al-Qarni, he's from Yemen, and ask him to pray for you. And Hazrat Umar was surprised, like the Prophet is asking me to ask this particular person to pray for him. And the Prophet had told him that whenever he raises his hand, that is Uwais al-Qarni, who is not a Sahabi, his prayers are always accepted. So he was quite amazed. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu made sure that he looked and searched for Uwais al-Qarni. Finally, he found out they had come to do Umrah for pilgrimage, and he went to ask him to pray for him. And he asked his people one special act that Uwais al-Qarni does, that Allah's messenger had asked me to even ask him to pray for me. And they all told him that he is pious and dutiful to his mother. This is the blessing, and this is the thing I will tell all my children here. Please, this is what they have done for you. This is not medical, because we are talking about being a Muslim, being practical. I want to tell you this. If your parents are alive, please go back and be dutiful to them. Be respectful to them. Your life in this world is written as A+. And the dunya and akhirah is also for you. It's not medicine that will make you winners. It is your prayers of your mother and your father that will make you best of creation in this world. Okay? Thank you so much.
Jazakallah khairan. Truly, may Allah make us dutiful to our parents. May our parents forgive us for all we've done to them so far. And may Allah truly accept from us and also give us
a great ending. That brings us to the end of this session. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your wisdom with us. I can't even express to you how much we appreciate it, and we look forward to when we can invite you back to have another session like that. Thank you so much to the audience as well. Jazakallah khairan again.
And please pray for me as well.
التكبير التكبير. May this interactive session be a source of goodness to all of us here. The next on the agenda is presentation of gifts to people who participated in our last event. And our last event was on Islam, and the topic was fun in Islam and fun in Islam. And at this juncture, I will call on the school Amir to invite those that participated so that they will get rewarded as you are promised, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm sorry, I know we spent a few hours here, but let's have more of the energy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.